Alright, zombie survivalists, James with the Z.E.D here again. And this video is on flashlights and some basics to consider when using a flashlight in a zombie outbreak scenario. Light helps us out a lot. It's a comfort to have. You know, you could illuminate a dark corner, see nothing's there, and feel safer about that. Aside from the psychological aspect, it helps us see, and we're very much a sight-driven species. But there are two big things to consider that can be detrimental to you when utilizing a flashlight. And if you don't consider these, you could really be in a dangerous situation during a zombie epidemic event. Firstly, yes, flashlight illuminates the area for you to see it. However, it also alerts everybody to your presence. Even if they're outside, if I'm outside the cone of light, so to speak, that the flashlights project for the most part, if I'm outside its range, I'm still gonna know there's a light going off there, even though you may not be able to see me because of it. And if I trace it back to its source, if you're holding that light, then I know where you are. And you may not even see me. Not a scare tactic here. I'm not trying to fearmonger. It's just something to keep in mind. And zombies react to light stimuli just like any other really base type of animal. Really basic type of entity would respond to stimuli. It's gonna investigate pretty much. So that's bad. As well, other people that you may not want to have known where you are to them will find out, and you don't want that either if they see the flashlight. Second thing to consider: flashing light in somebody's eyes. Is, aside from being, rude to an extent, especially if they're people that your friends are part of your survival group, if you have one during the zombie outbreak, it can be detrimental to them. If for example, you have to shut your light off, you have to kill your light pretty quickly, and move again, you'll adjust to the night conditions quicker than somebody who's just been blinded by the light. And if a zombie, let's say, broke into the warehouse you guys are hiding out in, and you have to kill the light so it doesn't see you directly and start moving, that other person will be at a disadvantage to adjust their eyes to the setting. Remember, our eyes adjust to different light conditions automatically. It's not something you just trigger. It's an automatic thing. However, this second part is something good for you if, let's say, somebody approaches your camp or you that may be hostile. You don't know, you don't trust them, you're a little paranoid during the zombie outbreak. It's understandable, and maybe before you start to look into your camp or let them near you, you want to talk to them a bit. Just shine the light right at them, right in their face, will put them on a disadvantage a bit. It may make them a little bit more agitated, so you have to be careful with that, but they'll be squinting, shielding their eyes so they can get a look. They'll be at a disadvantage that they probably won't try something. If they're going to, it'll be obvious by them maneuvering a very distinct way. So those are two things to consider. Now, at the same time, there are numerous positive things for flashlights. Obviously, you can see better, one thing, psychological aspect, and you can also utilize to communicate. Like, if you're shining lights and somebody's slightly in front of you, and they can see your light beam, and all of a sudden you move it frantically, they're probably going to look towards you and see what's up. So you can factor that into your group. You can say, circle means come to me or look for me or something like that. Look at me. You can make up these ideas. That way, you can communicate silently with just the light. Now, keep in mind, you might want to have if you do a zigzag and turn off a zigzag with the beam and then turn off, that may signify turn off the beam, potential problem ahead or something like that. So you do have to factor in those if you're going to use light as a communication means, but it'll definitely keep the noise level of your party down because nobody's speaking. Also, some examples or tips I should say for using a flashlight: either shine it high or shine it low. Meaning, if you're in a hallway, let's say, either shine it towards the ceiling or shine it on the floor ahead of you. Depending where you're looking, of course, and how you're going or what you're looking for will depend where you shine exactly. Shining it directly down the hallway, for example, he has to illuminate the area down there. It may not pick up on certain things that may be in your path of walking, depending, of course, how big it is and where you shine the light. It may not pick up on it completely, and also it'll alert things down that hall that you may not want to alert. But shining it ahead of you, you don't see all the way down the hall. But if you shine it like halfway down the hall towards the floor or the ceiling, you'll see the floor as you walk through it to see anything debris-wise or otherwise on the floor, and you'll illuminate the area in front of you without going all the way down the hall. Let's say, especially if the T-junction hall, things around the corner can see the beam against the wall and know something's coming. But if you have the beam down, you have to get a lot closer before they realize you're there, or have the potential to realize you're there. So just some things to consider. And lastly, what flashlight you go with is up to you. I recommend a flashlight that has some way of recharging it with a hand crank or shaking it up like back and forth, something like that. That way it builds up a charge for you to utilize it. Even better if it has battery backup, that way you don't have to worry about the charge dying mid-use. Even if you don't have that type, that's what's highly recommended, because those flashlights don't become useless when the battery dies. You can always recharge them up for a bit. But even if you don't have that, any type of flashlight with batteries and some backup batteries are important. And if you're going to utilize batteries heavily, once you change the battery out for whatever reason, get rid of the used battery. Even if it's only halfway dead, get rid of it. Only keep fresh batteries on your person. The last thing you want is to be in a scenario where you got to change the battery out, and for whatever reason your batteries are loose in the pouch, let's say, and you pick up an almost dead battery in its place of the dead one you need to charge out, or you need to switch out, and it does you virtually no good anyway. So that's pretty much it to think about. I know it sounds pretty obvious talking about flashlights, but you have to think about it a little bit. Think about the idea of, yeah, it's a two-way street, so to speak. If I shine a light, I can see what's in the lights area, and if people otherwise see the light, then they can trace it back to me and see me. And zombies aren't very sophisticated, no, they're very basic creatures, but they will respond to stimuli like that. Secondly, shining the lights in the eyes, like I said. So if you keep the things I said in mind while utilizing a flashlight during a survival situation, such as a zombie survival, and especially a zombie survival, that's what we're talking about here, I think you'll find the effectiveness of your flashlights increase, and stay for doing it. So just things to consider. And remember, the big part of zombie survival is actually prepping and planning. So be prepared, have a plan, and stay safe. Take care.